Hello, and welcome to a presentation on Tagxedo. Tagxedo is a word cloud with styles, and it's really a word cloud that you can do almost anything with. And to me, if I look at the very first word cloud that I learned, and that was this program called Wordle, Wordle.net, Tagxedo is Wordle on steroids. Here are some Wordles that have been created by people. They're just word clouds, meaning you have some kind of an image with words in it. But I don't really like Wordle that well because they all end up in a square shape and they all have a black background. And if you click on create and you paste words in it, you have to have the Java plugin, okay? And if your browser doesn't allow it, then you need to go to another browser. I haven't been able to find a browser that's worked. I've tried Mozilla, I've tried Chrome, I've tried Internet Explorer, so I really don't care about Wordle, but I just want you to know that that's where it really started, is with Wordle.net, and it's creating these simple word clouds. So Tagxedo takes it one step farther. So comparing these right here, I want to show you a gallery of some of the Tagxedos that people have done and put them out on the public for viewing. So you can see that these are very different than Wordles, but they're the same concept. They're word clouds, but you can bring in your own images and then you can put your own words in there. So I'm just going to scroll through these. And you can see some really interesting shapes. You can have different colored backgrounds, different colored text, and you can invert it so that the words go outside the image, or you can put it inside the image. You just have a lot more flexibility with Tagxedo than you do in Wordle. And Wordle, again, requires the Java plugin, and my computer won't let me run that for safety reasons, so I'm just not going to go there. So pretty cool things. You could do things with Mother's Day. In Tagxedo, you can also create these as gifts. You can shop in their store and turn these into mouse pads, put them on notepad or tote bags or t-shirts. And you can make your own t-shirt transfers out of these and do them yourself too. Here's again an inverted one. You can see the seal and it put the words outside of it. Same thing with the fox. Instead of putting them inside the image. Very easy to do. You just click the invert button. So aren't these neat? They're just very creative. And I'm going to show you how you can get words much bigger if you want them to stick out. There's some tricks that you can do in Tagxedo. Obviously, these people know the tricks, but most people don't. And then you can actually have your own words, like USA or any word, and then you can put words inside that word. So I'll show you how to do that as well. So just seeing the difference between Wordle, which are always squares, black background, you can see that Tagxedo is much more creative. And again, you can shop for these items. Here shows you like mouse pads, t-shirts, tote bags, mugs. You can do them yourself or you can buy them from Tagxedo here. So if I go to the Home tab here, and I can start right here. These are some of the things that you can do with Tagxedo. You can make a word cloud out of blogs, tweets, or tags. Just put in the URL, your Twitter ID, your Delicious account, from news, from just a search, or an RSS feed. And then you can quickly put it in one of these shapes, and then you can make it horizontal, vertical, or both horizontal, vertical, or any direction, including diagonal. You can choose a font, you can choose a theme, and submit. It can be as easy as that. But there are a lot more shapes here. So if you want to do just a quick one right now, you can enter something here and submit, or you just have to click the create button. Now, when you get to the create button, if you don't get to the actual load, then that means that you need to install Silverlight. So if you click create and you get something like this, it says please install Silverlight. If you've already installed Silverlight and Tagxedo still does not work, please try it on a different browser. So Chrome is not going to work. It says in particular Google Chrome no longer supports Silverlight. Firefox, Safari, which is more for the Mac, and even Internet Explorer has its own peculiarity with respect to Silverlight, some in the form of version-specific bug. Finally, Tagxedo only works on desktop or laptop computers, so you won't be able to use that on the tablet or your phone. So I tried Firefox, and I already have Silverlight downloaded. So when I double-click on Firefox, I have created hundreds in Firefox. But now when I go to Tagxedo, I don't know if something's been upgraded, but now when I go to create, it doesn't work. It says it doesn't do anything. So that means I can't use Firefox. But you might be able to try that, because I've done lots of Tagxedos in Firefox. So it's Mozilla Firefox. So you can't use Chrome. I couldn't use Firefox. Maybe you could. I tried Microsoft Edge. That wasn't supported. So I just tried Internet Explorer, which is the older version of Microsoft Edge that you're not supposed to use, especially for things that you want to be secure on, like credit card information, personal information like banking. So I would only do it maybe for Tagxedo and then don't use it. So to see if you have Internet Explorer, I just went down here and I typed Internet Explorer. All right, and then I opened it up, and after I downloaded Silverlight, it works great. So I'm in Internet Explorer now, and I'm going to create, and then this is what you should see if Silverlight is working. So for me, Internet Explorer works, but you can try different browsers. If you have a Mac, you can download Safari, or you can even download Safari, period. Now, to download it, I'm going to go back to Chrome, because that's the browser that I usually use. And if you pass your mouse over this paragraph, you get a finger there. And when you click it, it will take you to the Silverlight download page. And then all you have to do is install for Windows. Now, I've already installed it, so I'm not going to go through the whole process. But once it's downloaded, then you just click on the exe file if it's showing here. If it's not, go to the yellow folder on your taskbar, which is File Explorer. Go to your download folder, and there's Silverlight. So normally you want to be careful with exe files, but this is the one you need, Silverlight. And then you double click it, and yes, you want to allow it. And when you go through this route of installing, you got to really be careful about these toolbars that it's setting up or changes that it's making. Like, I don't want Bing to be my default search engine, and I don't want to make MSN my home page. So make sure that you look at these pop-ups that might be coming up later because you didn't check these boxes. Okay, then you just install it, and then it should work. Now, if it doesn't work, another program or another website you can go to if you're really concerned about getting the wrong installation is go to a very safe place called Ninite, NINITE.com. Ninite allows you to install and update all your programs. You won't get any extra toolbars like if we didn't check those boxes that we just did, we'd get some things that we didn't want. Those are called pups. So you won't get toolbars, there's no clicking next, you just pick your apps and go. I love this one. Our IT program uses this one extensively. I know they use this one for Malwarebytes. We have virus protection. I know they also use Malwarebytes to detect malware. But there are a couple here that you could install. Firefox, if you want to try that one, to make sure you get the right Firefox from Mozilla. And then it also has Silverlight right here. So you could install both of those. You just pick the apps you want, and then you get your Night, and it will download and run these programs. So this is a great site. I would, if you have any concerns at all from going there or it doesn't work, try getting it from Ninite.com, Silverlight. Okay, so once you've got it installed, I have to use my browser, Internet Explorer. So once you're on Tagxedo.com, you just go to the create button. Again, you could do a quick one right here, but we're going to get a little more advanced than that. So, oh, another thing is to go here as well before you get started, so you can start getting more ideas. Go to the 101 ways. I'm not sure why it's not appearing in Internet Explorer. In Google Chrome, it has the buttons right here, learn. So I've gone through all of these, and there are some really cool ideas of what you could do with your Tagxedos. So it's definitely worth 5-10 minutes just looking through different ways to do it, and then go back to blog, and then you get more ideas of things that you can do. Like here's Valentine's Day, Mother's Day gifts. Okay, some really cool ideas, and then you can go next and see some more ideas. Like here's an inverted tree. That's a really cool looking rose. Snowflake. I mean, it's really, really cool. It is definitely, again, worth 5-10 minutes just to scroll through all of these. So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to assume that you think this is a really cool tool that you can use personally, and I'm going to show you how you can use it professionally as well. And then you should be then ready to go. So why don't you pause the video right now and go through those 101 ways and just get some ideas so that you are ready to create some Tagxedos. All right, now there are plenty of ideas of how to use things personally. What about professionally? Well, if you're going to put together a portfolio of the work that you have learned in your different office classes, here's an idea. A previous student of mine wanted her section dividers for each of the software programs in some of her classes to be a lot more than just the plain Microsoft Word. That's pretty boring. Anybody can do that. An employer's not going to look at that and go, wow, you know how to type the words Microsoft Word on one sheet of paper. But if they look at this, they're going to go, wow, that is cool. So she took a star shape, which is one of the default shapes in Tagxedo, and she inverted it. And all of these words, she went in the index and the table of contents of her Microsoft Word book, and she typed them in. And what you do is once you create a Tagxedo, you have to put the words in this load box. So she typed them up in a Microsoft Word document. She copied them all to the clipboard, and then she pasted them here in the load box right here. So she did that for Word, and then she inverted it. Now, isn't that cool? Now, an employer would look at that and go, that is neat, versus just plain text on a page. So she did the same thing with Excel. She looked in the table of contents and the index for the things that she had learned. Again, she typed them in a Word document, saved the document, copied, pasted it into the load box, and she did the same thing for Excel. And then she did that for Microsoft Outlook. These are all the Outlook words. She did this for PowerPoint. These are all PowerPoint words. She did it for Access and Publisher, and then she did it for some other classes too that weren't computer ones, like Office Procedures and several others. And she had a star theme going because in her table of contents, she used stars here. So she kind of kept the star theme going to show her divisions and the little tabs on the side of her portfolios. She had these color-coded, and then she had the stars here on her table of contents. So that's something how you could use it professionally, just to create a portfolio. And I have seen many businesses that have signs that I know they have used Wordle because they're black and they're not very pretty. But then I've also seen some that have used Tagxedo to create some really cool signs. Okay, so let's get started with creating a Tagxedo. So now that you have Silverlight downloaded and you have found a browser that once you click the Create button, you know it works. So I'm going to go back to Tagxedo. And if you click the Create button and you get this right here that talks about you have to download Silverlight, then you know this browser is not going to work. So Chrome is not going to work because I'm going to get this paragraph about Silverlight. So find one that works. I found Internet Explorer. Okay, so now that you know and you have some ideas of what you could do personally and or professionally, then you need to create some words here. Okay, and just type them and press the enter key. If, again, you want to keep them together, use the tilde. So I'm going to, again, select them all, Control-A, Control-C. I'm going to go to Internet Explorer. I can click the load button. And then, again, I'm going to paste it, Control-V. And it shows you all right here, the shortcuts. Control-A to select all, Control-C to copy, Control-V to paste. Again, I could click here and I could put in a web page, and it would take all the words from that web page, and then it would create a word cloud from it. I'm going to come down here. I have a blank line. I'm just going to backspace that off. Okay, so then all you do is you just load them and submit. Now the default is, you can see it spinning right here, is the inverted Africa right here, which is not what I want. So I'm going to come down here under options, and I'm going to go to shape and click the arrow key. Now these are all the default images that Tagxedo has. You can see here words like we saw the USA, they have joy and love. So if I want to see what my words look like in the word joy, you can see I clicked it and it's respinning now. And some of these, if you have many letters that you need to fill, you can see the joy, the J on the joy is not that great. So you would need more words than you currently have to fill that letter J. Love would probably be even worse. Here's respinning. So you just need to add more words. Yeah, you can see the E and the L aren't that great. So you can see here are some of the default images that it has. The student who did the star shape, she got it from here. I know one did a shooting star. She liked the star theme, but she liked the shooting star better. And that's okay. You might need a few more words there to make it look really sharp. But here's the star that she used to, and there's the invert button right here to put it around. So there's the star, and then if you want to invert it, so you click invert and then you click star, and then it will put the words outside of that shape. Okay, so if I look at hers, she made some of her words very large. So I will show you how you can do that as well. I just want to give you the basics right now. Okay, so that's how you can go through any shape. Just make it, if it's personal, you don't want to put your word, you can put your words in a turtle, but if it's for business or a portfolio, a turtle is not appropriate. Okay, once I did a tree, I had all the names of my family members, and I loaded them into the box after I typed them in Word, and then I put them in a tree. Now I had this on invert. You can see it inverted here. So if I don't want to invert, I just click invert to take it off. You can see when they're inverted, they have a background and you only see the shape. So then you click invert and then you take it back so it doesn't have that background shape. So then it puts it in the image like that. Okay, so that was cool, but I actually chose my own tree. And I'll show you how to do that. So let's say that you want to use this for a portfolio, and you want to use some images related to Office. So you have to add an image. So let me just show you what I did. I did it with a tree, and I've done it with other objects. So I'm just going to use Google Chrome because I like Google Chrome. I use it all the time. So I have gone to phone, I searched for phone, and then I went to images. Okay, so I was back at google.com, and then I typed in phone, and I went images. So the first thing you have to know is if you pick something that has a square shape, that's what the image is going to fill, a square shape. Even though there's a phone in there, this actually is the shape of the image. It's square, so it's not going to be anything spectacular. If you choose something like this, it's going to fill a circle. Here it's going to fill rounded corners. So you're really looking for images that have a distinct shape like this. So you could use one like this, a phone. These are the phones that they still have in business. They're the handset that you put on a cradle. This one wouldn't work that great because, again, it's going to fill the rounded square there. You could try something like this. So I have, I've already tried this one, and I'll show you what it looks like. So to get the image, you just right-click, and then you save the image as, and I already saved this one. It'll come up with download, but I just changed the word to phone, and then notice it's saving it as a PNG file. So I'll just save it again as phone and replace it. Okay, so if I wanted to use the phone, I'm going to go back to Internet Explorer. Then I go back to shape, I click the arrow here, and I add the image, and then I want the phone. So I'm going to double click the phone. Now, some of these images might have areas that are white, so you need to change this threshold to get as much black filled in as possible without blurring it. So like this. Okay, you don't want to go all the way until you get a square. Okay, but you can make it disappear and you can make it thicker. And the more black areas you have, that's where the words are going to go. So you get where you want, and then you just, you can accept it. And then it will respin and it will put it in the shape of that phone. Okay, so again, if you have your own image, you will see it appear right here at the top of your list. So if you want to invert that, you click invert and then go back to your phone, and now you'll see a background with only the picture showing, and then it's respinning and it will take the words and put it outside the phone. Okay, kind of like this gal did with the star. So if you don't like that phone, then let's try a different one just to get practice on getting images. So let's say that we want this phone right here. It has a distinct shape, so again, I'm going to right click on top of it, save the image as. This one I'm going to call phone 2, save it as a PNG, and then we'll go back to Tagxedo, to the shape, and if you want to leave it inverted, you can. I'm just going to scroll down here and get the add image, and I'm going to do phone 2. And that's a pretty good shape. All of it is black, so I'm going to just accept here. Okay, so there's the inverted one. And if I don't want to invert, I'm going to click that one, go back up, and choose this one that doesn't have the inverted. So you can see my images are adding. Okay, so there's a phone. So that worked pretty well. I tried a computer just to see what that would look like, and the ones that have all this white space in between, you probably won't have enough words for that one, and it's very confusing. Okay, so you would want to find an image kind of like this one where it's just one object. Anything that has space in between, it goes to the outline of it, and it doesn't look like anything. So I'm going to just try, let's say, this one. So I'm going to right click, save the image as, and then save it as a computer. This one's saving as a PNG file, so I'll just leave it as PNG. Save. Okay, then I'm going to go back to my shape and add an image. And I added another computer before, but this one I just added right now. So I'll show you the other one. So this is the one that I just added right now. So there's a computer. And again, if we want to invert this one, there's the computer screen. Okay, so to me that's not the greatest. So here's another thing you can do is when you add an image like this computer, you can make the interior white or black. Normally it's defaulted as black. So if you choose white, you can play around with different images to see what you get when you change that to black and white. Okay, so you get something a bit different. So I had another computer image out there that I looked for. Let me show you what it looks like. It's this one. Okay, when I downloaded it, it had a strange extension, so I just added JPEG to it because you have to have a PNG or JPEG. So if you right-click a file and it doesn't have a PNG, doesn't say PNG or JPEG extension, you need to type that in there. So I chose this one. So let me show you what that one looks like. You just mainly have to play around and see which ones look the best. So that one, when I downloaded it, had like a JFIF extension, so I just changed it to JPEG. So there it is. And I'm going to change it just back to black and white so you can see what that looks like. Okay, so there's that one. And then again, if I want to invert it, they're kind of similar. I'll respin that one as an inverted. So not that great. So again, you have to just play around. You have to find your images, right-click them, save the image as, and if it, like here, if it comes up with JFIF, then just change it to whatever you want to call it and then put JPEG or PNG on there. So this is computer 3. And then just try them out and see the different results that you get from adding different images. So here's the computer 3 one. So if it isn't exactly what you want, again, you can change the blur. So this one didn't come in that great. So I would blur this one so that the whole thing is filled with black, like this. Okay, then accept it. Okay, so that one is inside the computer. And again, I'm going to invert it. I think it's this one right here. Okay, so you have a few different results from a few different monitors, but the one that you can get the best from are these distinct shapes that are one image. So when I did my family tree, and by the way, if you're doing this for commercial purposes, you would want to go to Tools here, and then it says it's not filtered by license. So you'd want to get it, if you're using it for your personal use, you could say label for non-commercial. If you're doing for a business, you would say label for reuse with modification to make sure you don't violate any copyright laws here. So this image, when I tried it with the tree, did not work that well because of these white spaces in between here. These again are just squares. So this image was pretty good. This one was good. This one was not so good. So I just chose one of these, save image as, and again it came up with that JFIF. So I just called it tree and then chose it as a JPEG. So I typed it JPEG. Otherwise, if you leave it as the JFIF, it won't show up in Tagxedo. So let me try the tree one here. So go to Shape, Add Image, Tree. And again, you might have to change the blurriness to get it all black because some of them might come in like this with white spots, and then you're going to have problems. So then just change the threshold here, not the blur, the threshold. You can also change the blurriness, but threshold is the one that you need to change the most. And then accept, and then you can see how it looks in that tree. If you don't like it, choose a different tree. So there's the inverted. Let me take that one off. Okay, here's the tree that I added. Okay, so I had all the names of my family members inside the tree, and it turned out really, really cool. Okay, so that's how you add images. Now, if you want text, like we saw that USA one, all you do is you just click add words. Now, if you had an image and you wanted to edit it because you needed it thicker, notice, did you see the edit image there? Okay, so you can always go back and make it the higher threshold to fit your needs. Okay, so adding words, as we saw, there was only joy and love there. So if we add a word here, let's say we wanted office. You just type it and click accept. And again, you might need more words if you can't see all of it. See, that one is just not going to be very attractive because you're missing part of the O and the E. You can type them in uppercase or lowercase and see if that makes any difference. Okay, not a whole lot of difference. It's still not that great. So you can put your own words in there. And then just add more words if you need. So again, I would create them in Word and save this list, and then you can reuse it. Okay, so that's the basics of how to put your own images and how to use the images of Tagxedo and how to invert them. So other really fun things you can do is you can change the color. I'm just going to go back up here and choose this phone because that phone worked well. Okay, so let's say that I like this phone. So I want to change the colors of it. Now, if I just click this spin arrow, it's going to, if every time I click it, it's going to change the colors in that particular theme. Now, if I don't like those colors and I want again to have Tagxedo just randomly pick different themes, I can keep clicking here. Or I can click this arrow and then I can pick themes. Now, if you see, this one has a white border around the outside of the colors. So if I choose that one, it's going to have a white background. If I choose, say, this one right here that has brown around the squares, now I'm going to get a brown background. This one's going to give me a green background. That one's going to give me this colored background. So if you want a white background, then you have to choose one with white squares around it. So you just go through and you pick different colors. It uses all of the different spectrums in those array of colors. You've got a whole bunch of themes here that you can use. So you find something that you like, and then when you're done with it, then you can move on. Now the font, again, if you just want Tagxedo to pick random fonts for you, it will change the words to different fonts. Some of them are very distinctive. Okay, you can tell there are different fonts here. And if you decide you want them to be the same font, then click the font arrow, and you don't have that many choices to make. Here's Boston Traffic, and then they would be all in Boston Traffic. Okay, see all the words now are in Boston Traffic, versus this one, it changes it up so that the words are not all in, say, Boston Traffic. They're in something, each one is a different font. So you have that choice of different fonts or one font for everything. The next one, orientation, if you click it, Tagxedo will change the orientation to sometimes all horizontal. If you click it again, it might be sometimes all vertical. It might be any direction, including diagonal, like this one. But if you want them to all be, say, horizontal, then you choose this from the list. Then all the words are horizontal. I think that looks really cool, doesn't it? Or if you want them all to be vertical, I like the horizontal better. Or you can make them all either horizontal or vertical, but they can't be any direction like diagonal. So here you see exactly horizontal or vertical. That one's neat too. Or you can do any direction, and then you'll have some diagonals going in there in any direction. Okay, I kind of like either horizontal or horizontal vertical. That was neat. Okay, so that is the orientation. And you can lock these so that when you spin them, it'll always have a certain, like if you want a certain font, you can lock that one. So then when you spin them all, it will lock that font and not change the font. So here's another one, layout. Well, what a layout does is it moves these words around in different positions. So like here, you wouldn't always have executive assistant at the top. Layout is going to be moving them around. Okay, so now I've got administrative professional at the top. So if I wanted to lock a certain theme in, let's say that I wanted to lock the soapbox parade in. Okay, I could lock that one. And then now when I spin it, with all of these, the color, the theme, the font, the orientation, layout, and so forth, it won't change the theme. This will spin all of these items except the one that I have locked. Okay, so if you don't want that one locked, take it off, and then it will spin all of them except the theme. So these three things that you can lock. Okay, so now it changed the theme. So if I want a certain font, let's say that I want Boston Traffic, and I don't want all these different fonts. Okay, so I will lock the font, so then when I spin all of these things, it won't change the font from Boston Traffic. Okay, everyone is now Boston Traffic. As soon as I take that lock off and spin, it's going to give me a variety of fonts, not just all Boston Traffic. Okay, so that's the respins. We've covered the shape. Now, what's really cool about this is the history. If you go to history, it keeps track of every one that you have done the respin on. So here are all my phones, the backgrounds, there's the trees, there are the two words office, the computer screens, the different phones. I started out with stars, a shooting star. So if I wanted to go back after all of them that I did, I think, oh, I like this one the best. All I have to do is go back to it, and there it is. Pretty cool. Okay, now the word and layout options. If you click back on Word right here, the most important part here is punctuation and numbers. Right now they're set to no, but if you have punctuation marks in your words, like hyphens or apostrophes or something like that, they won't appear unless you turn this on, unless you turn this on to yes. And if you have numbers that you have written in your words or typed in your words, right now it's going to ignore the numbers. But if you want to have it look at punctuation marks and numbers, you need to change those to yes. Okay, so once you've gotten all of the color, theme, font, orientation, layout, and your shape, and if you've got, again, punctuation and numbers and turned that on, you've got it exactly the way you want. The last step then is to save it. Now I'm going to just do one thing. I'm just going to put it into this shape so it's very easy to identify. Okay, so I've got this shape right here. I'm going to hit the X. Okay, so let's say that's the one that I want. I've gone through everything and I've decided I want this phone. So as the last step, then you go to save and share. Okay, so I have tried saving them in these lower pixel rates, and they have been really bad when I print them out, very low quality. So I would ignore these totally and go way over here to the 16. And you can choose JPEG or PNG. It really doesn't matter because they're both high quality, made for, this one is more like for photographs, photographic quality. This is more for web, saving it on the web, the PNG format, but either one is a high quality one. So I'm just going to save this one as a JPEG. I'm going to put it on the desktop, and I'm going to say phone Tagxedo. Okay, so this is what you do with every one. You save it, and then if you want it in Publisher or PowerPoint or Word, you get into that program. So I'm going to get into Word. I'm going to get a brand new document here. And let's say that I want to do something like this gal. I want to put a heading up here, of, say, office procedures. Or for me, these are all different office job titles. So maybe I want to call my heading office job titles, but I could call it office procedures or Microsoft Word if that Tagxedo fit with it. Office job titles. Okay, so I get that the way I want it. If I want to center it, bold it, make it bigger, if I want to add some effects to it, whatever, turn it into word art. Okay, now I'm going to insert the picture. I can't open a graphic, okay? You can't open pictures. You can only insert pictures. Okay, so I put it on my desktop, and I call this one, oh, did I not save that one as a JPEG? I thought I did. There it is, Phone Tagxedo JPEG. There it is right in front of me. Okay, so I'm just going to double click it, open it up, and there it is. Now you can see it has a copyright and it has Tagxedo.com. Tagxedo would like you to leave that on, but if you're using it for personal use, you can crop that off. So let me show you how to do that. So you have your image selected, and if you want to move this around, you need to change the wrapping to something other than inline, because then you can't really move it wherever you want. So anything but inline. So I'll just change it to square. And now I can move that thing around and position it where I want it. All right, so once you've changed the wrapping, then what you do is you come up here and go to crop. And then it has the cropping handles on it. Right here, these black ones. So if you wanted to, you could crop off all of the borders. When you click away, you can see I cropped that one off. If you want it back, you just click back on it, the graphic, and then go back to cropping, and then pull that back up so you're not cropping off the border. So you can do that anywhere there's black handle. You can do that in the corner to get two sides at once. You can do it to the left and right. Or here's where she just cropped off the copyright and the Tagxedo.com at the bottom. Okay, and then when you're done, you just click away from it and you've cropped it. Okay, and then you would want to save this one and print it out on a color printer. So that's how you bring in your Tagxedos. So one more time, I'm going to say, close that out there. So again, you get whatever shape that you want. I'm going to go back to my history. Let's say that I really liked this horizontal phone. Okay, and this is all in Boston traffic. So if I want this one, I'd go to save. Again, I'm going to try a ping here just so you can see the difference. There's not much difference. And then again, you save it. So I'm going to call this one Phone 2 Tagxedo. I've saved it on my desktop. And then when I get into Microsoft Word, I can have another blank document, or I'm going to do Control-End. Get to the bottom of the document, Control-Enter to get a new page here. Again, I can have my title. Maybe this one is Office Procedures. Again, I can format that with center bold, make it large, and then insert the picture. And let me find my, here it is, Phone 2 Tagxedo, right there. Okay, so again, I can click on it, change the wrapping, crop it, and then I could get rid of that bottom portion if I wanted to, and then click away, and there we go. Now I can change the size of it. I can make it larger or smaller. Again, I can move it around. Okay, so that is how you do Tagxedo. So why would you want to save these words in a file? Because if I decide that I want to get out of Tagxedo and come back in it, my history is all gone and all of the words in the load box are gone. If I click the back arrow and come back, they're all gone. So if I had just typed them in here and I want to do more with it, I would have to retype them all. So that's why you want to save your lists of words in a separate Word document. And then select them or do Control-A if that's all you have in the file. Now, the handout for Tagxedo goes one step farther. We've talked about the browser, and this is what we haven't talked about right here. When one of my previous students wanted certain words larger, she used these tips from this handout. So you can change the size, color, angle, and font of your Tagxedo just by changing modifiers. And what you do is you type your word, and again, I would do this in a Word document right here, and then you add a colon after it, and if you want it really large, type a number like 20. Okay, so all you have to do is just type your word, colon, and then a number. Okay, so here's an example. I want the word Chicago really large compared to everything else, so I'm going to put a colon and put a 20 after it. Now, if you want to change the color, you're changing what are called the HTML colors, hypertext markup language. Those are the colors that you see on every web page. So in your browser, search for HTML colors, and you'll see all of these color codes. And they're in the color code format of RRGGBB, red, red, green, green, blue, blue. And you have to type this after the pound sign. So again, here's Chicago, colon. You always have to put a colon before you put any of these modifiers. Then you put the pound sign and you put that 6-digit or letter combination. Okay, so how do you find out those HTML colors? Well, in your browser, whatever it is, I'm using Chrome, you will, if you search for HTML colors, okay, I search for HTML colors, you're going to get one right here, a list of all common color codes, and here they are. Gray is this one, black is this one, and so forth. And if you click on any of these websites, they're going to give you what the values are for colors. Like this one right here, if you like that color, here's the color code. Again, they're all after a pound sign. Just go, if you don't like one particular page, just go through and find other pages. So this one puts them in all in alphabetical order. Here's the color, and here's the hex code for it, the HTML code for it. So you can go from A to Z, every single color, and then you can just copy and paste that code. And again, I would put it back here. Let's say that I want this one in another. I would put the pound sign and I would paste the code. Oops, I didn't copy that code. So I'm going to copy Control-C and go here and paste it. And then I'm just going to paste the text only. Okay, and you can't have a space after it, so it has to be all together. So that would have a certain color for that word. Okay, now if I go back here, the web page that I like, this one's good in alphabetical order, but I like the one by Visibone. This one right here, Web Color Chart Hexadecimal by Visibone. I like this one just because the code is right in the color. I don't have to do a lot of scrolling down. So you can just click and drag over a code, copy it, Control-C, go to your Word document and find the one that you want, type a colon, pound sign, and then paste. And then again, you'll want to just paste the text, and you want it all together like that with no space after the pound sign. Okay, and if you make changes here, you'll want to save them. Otherwise, these are all going to go away if you don't save it. And then you can copy and paste, Control-A, Control-C, get into Tagxedo, go into your load box. I'm going to Control-A and Control-V, my new list here that has the codes in them. And then you submit. And then it will have that size, and these two will have these certain colors. So executive administrative assistant, notice how, well, and if it doesn't fit into the diagonals that you have, sometimes they don't always work. And you can change the layout of it to try to get it to make that particular one large. But with the font and the style that I have, I might spin them all. And so you have to play around with it. I have had okay luck with the number after it. I've tried up to 100 to make it larger, but what happens is when you spin these, it just tries to fit it within the picture that you have. So it might not always work with your individual picture. You might have to adjust your numbers or just keep spinning it until the word that you want is big. Okay, so other things you can do. So you can try the size, and definitely the color will work. If I go back to my Tagxedo, the two that I had changed the colors, administrative assistant and executive assistant, those should definitely be the colors that I had highlighted. Yep. You can see this color right here. I put that one on the executive assistant, and you can see it's that color. And then administrative assistant was this color, like a pinkish one or grayish one. Okay, so the colors work. The size I've had mixed results with. You can also change the angle. Again, you type your word, you put a colon, and you put the @ symbol. So here's 45 degrees, or the @ symbol 0. It's not going to be angled at all. Maybe you have any direction, but this one you want no direction. You want it straight across horizontal. And then you can change your font modifier. And this one, again, after the colon, you have a special character for a font. So size, there is no character, but with the color, there's a pound sign. With the angle, there's an @ symbol. With the font, you have an exclamation point. So duality was one of the fonts. If they change the program to add more fonts, that one might go away. But right now, there's a duality. Now, if you have ones like Boston Traffic or some of these other ones that have more than one word, then you have to put an exclamation point in there to replace that space. So if it contains multiple words, replace any space with exclamation points. So you have to start it out, first of all, with an exclamation to show that it's a font, but then you have to put the exclamation point between the spaces, like here's Boston Traffic. Okay, here's license plate, which was another font. If I scroll down here, license plate. Okay, so what if you want to use them all together? Well, all you have to do is just chain them together with a colon, no space between. So for instance, if I wanted the word Chicago in a larger font in this particular color, I would chain them together by putting colons between each one. This one is going to make Chicago with a particular color and a particular font. But I can string them all together. So I've already talked about this one, changing the punctuation and numbers to yes. I've already talked about the tilde. So let's kind of put this all together. So here's an example. I have FFA 2020 to 2021. So in order to use this hyphen, I would need to, under the word and layout options, right here, I would want to change under the word tab, change this punctuation to yes. Otherwise, it's going to ignore that hyphen. I use the tilde here to keep the words together. Otherwise, FFA is going to be on one line, 2020 to and forget the hyphen if I don't have that on, but that would be on another line. So to keep them together, I use a tilde. The colon here, again, means I want that to be larger in size. I have another colon that has the specific color for that title. I have another colon that specifies that I want the headline 1 font, and then another colon to show that I want no angle on this one. So this is going to be big. It's going to be a certain font, a certain color with no angle. It's going to be horizontal. Then animal projects, again, I've got those together. I've got a 20, a certain font, and a certain color and no angle. So these two are going to be straight across horizontal. All the rest could be going in any direction. So if I highlight this one and copy this to the clipboard, and put this one in my load box. I'm going to highlight, Control A, and then I'm going to Control V paste over my existing list. So when I submit this one, again, with the phone, it might not be the greatest. I might have to choose a different graphic. Okay, so you can see the FFA 2020 has no angle, neither does the Animal Projects. And that's large in that font. They were the same font, they were the same size and the same color. So you can see that those are. So if I spin all of these other factors, notice that the FFA and the Animal Projects stays with no angle in the same font and no angle in the same color. So I can spin all day and it's going to keep those large. And notice my punctuation mark hasn't been ignored and it kept those words together. So I can spin all day that I want. Those two are going to stick out. Okay? Okay, so that should give you enough information to do advanced Tagxedos and basic Tagxedos and get you what you want. Again, I've had mixed results with this one, but just keep trying until you get the one that you want. And then again, when you've gotten the one that you want, you go to save it, go way over here to JPEG or PNG. And if you look at the two that I've done, this one here, this one was a PNG, and this one was a JPEG. You can't really tell much of the difference in the quality of the two. If I view and split this, here I can see the phone, and here this one, and then the other phone down below. You can't really see any difference in quality here. So it doesn't matter if it's really JPEG or PNG. Okay, so to prove to you why you want to save these in your Word document, if I hit the back button here, because I want to go back and maybe look at the gallery, or I want to get some more ideas by going to the 101 ways. Now if I click the right arrow, and I go to my load box, notice they're all gone. And if I had put in all of these codes and modifiers and angles and colors and so forth, and I had not typed them in a Word document and saved them with all the codes and everything, I would have to do that all over again. So hopefully I just proved to you the importance of typing them in a Word document, saving the Word document, and then you can always go back and put them in, copy and paste them back into the load box. And when I get out of Tagxedo or I hit the back button, notice my history is gone. Okay, they're not saved permanently. They're only for the session. If I close out of Internet Explorer or I hit the back button, the history is all gone along with all the words. So make sure you save things that you like. You can always delete them later, but the history is gone. Okay, so hopefully I have shown you how you can use this to wow an employer with these section dividers for each area of a portfolio that you can take to a job interview. I showed you how you could use that in the workplace. I've seen those throughout different businesses with different signs, and some have used Wordle, and others have used Tagxedo. And then you've gotten a lot of personal ideas that you can use. You can make these into really customized, really neat gifts for people. All right. If you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, thanks for listening and have fun.